pops out of the truck, we will not be able to stop to get it. So we're going to start our adventure today in the Ituri Forest. The animals that live here, they're shy and reclusive, known for blending in with their surroundings, so keep your eyes peeled. They might be hiding in the bushes or the trees. Helps them keep away from their predators, keeps them nice and safe. Right on the right, there is an okapi there. Now the okapi has those black and white striped legs, kind of looks like it resembles a zebra. Although they're not related to the zebra, they're actually related to the giraffe. They have the same skull structures and prehensile tongues, which means that their tongues are really long and can grab things just like our thumbs can. And up on the left, there is a lighter tan antelope there. Those are the greater kudu. Oh, there's another one here on the right as well. Now the greater kudu, they are the second tallest antelope species in the world. They stand about 55 inches tall. The ones that we can see here, we can tell every single one is a female because they don't have any horns on their head. Only the males grow the horns. They grow to be about 6 feet long. They're really big, super spirally. If you look above you on your animal spotting guide, all the way on the end, there is a picture of the male greater kudu, just in case you were curious as to what they look like with those horns. Right on the left here, we're gonna see a black rhino. Now the black rhino is a smaller species of rhino. They weigh about 3,000 pounds each. They're also a solitary species of rhino, so they do like to spend a lot of their time alone like this. Now unfortunately for the black rhino, there's only about 5,000 of them left in the entire world. They are being hunted for the horns on their heads, which are believed to have medicinal purposes, but really they're only made of keratin, which is what our fingernails and hair is made of. So it's really important to try to spread awareness about that. So hopefully people will stop hunting the rhinos for something we grow naturally ourselves on our own bodies. All right, one more animal before we exit the forest. Over on the left, those black and white birds are the saddle-billed storks. Now they stand about 5 feet tall with a wingspan of about 9 feet, and we can tell the males and the females apart based on their eye color. The males have brown eyes and the females have bright yellow eyes. All right, now that we've exited the forest, we're gonna head on down to the Safi River. Safi River is home to some of the aquatic animals that we have here on the resort. They do like to spend their days in the water though, so if you don't see any either on land or even just poking their heads up, look down deep. They might just be underneath the water trying to keep nice and cool. Oh, right on the right, there's a Nile hippopotamus in the water there. Now the Nile hippos, they weigh about 5,500 pounds and they're fully grown. A group of them together is called a bloat, so we're gonna see if we can find the rest of the bloat around here. Hopefully we can. But the hippos, they do have the ability to hold their breath for up to 8 minutes, which allows them to sink to the bottom of the river. Yeah, there's some more hippos on the left here. Let's go see them. So they have the ability to hold their breath for up to 8 minutes, which allows them to sink to the bottom of the river, which is what these ones here are doing, and they run along the bottom, which is what they do instead of swimming. They do have a hard time floating and swimming, so instead they just sink and run. So you get to see them in action here. Pretty cool. They also tend to sleep under the water as well, so because they do have to breathe every 8 minutes, they'll involuntarily poke their heads up out of the water, take a breath of air, and go back under, all while still sleeping, which is pretty cool. And if you notice those grayish-white birds on the island, those are the pinch-back pelicans. They do get their name because during mating season, they'll turn a pinkish color. A group of them together is called the pod, and pods of pinch-back pelicans are usually made up of about 5 to 500 pairs. They are really social and like to hang out in huge groups like that. And on the left, we're gonna have the Nile crocodiles. Now the Nile crocodiles are ectothermic, which means they can't create their own body heat. So to warm themselves up, they'll lay in the sun. And then if they need to cool themselves down, they could either go into the water, or sometimes we see them with their mouths wide open. You might notice this one right here has its mouth wide open. Looks pretty intimidating, like they're ready for a snack, but it's actually just how they cool themselves down to keep nice and cool. Now the Nile crocodiles, they can grow to be about 15 feet long, so if they were to stand up on top of their tail, they would be almost as tall as a giraffe. And they do have one of the strongest bites in the world. Each bite for those crocodiles can be a bone-crushing 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. Now coming up on the right, there's going to be a really big tree over here. It's called a baobab tree. Sometimes it's nicknamed the upside down tree because 9 months out of the year it will look the way it does right now with no leaves. So the bare branches on top kind of look like the roots. That's because the tree is really good at preserving its water. The water can be found in the large trunk that it has, and that way animals out in the savannah, if they get thirsty, they can find these trees, poke holes in the trunk and drink the water right out of them. which is why the tree is also known as the Tree of Life. And it does mark our entry into the beautiful savannah here. The savannah stretches for hundreds of miles in Africa, home to many of the popular animals we know, such as giraffes, those zebras that we can see, lots of antelope species. So let's head on in. Now, right off the bat here, we're going to have a Hartmann's Mountain zebra on the right. A few of them. Now, the Hartmann's Mountain zebras, they do come from mountainous regions of Africa. They have smaller hooves than other zebras. That way they can easily maneuver through the rocky terrain of those mountains. Now, our group of zebras together is called a dazzle. And we can tell the color of a zebra based on the color of their nose. So these ones we can tell are black with white stripes because they do have black noses. Whereas if you found a zebra with a pink nose, that means they are white with black stripes. Now, each zebra also has unique stripes, kind of like a fingerprint, and they're able to tell each other apart by those stripes as well. Even the newborn babies, within a few hours, they can already identify their friends and family by those stripes, which is pretty cool. All right, we can see those giraffes over there, so we should be able to get a nice good look as we head around a little further. But over on the left, they're kind of hard to see. They're laying down over there by the cave. There are some African painted dogs. Now, I think they look super cute and cuddly, but they're actually the #1 predator out here on the savannah. They have such a high success rate because they are family-oriented animals. They like to do everything together, including hunting. When they wake up in the morning, they won't start their day until every single one has said hello to all of the other ones, which, for being the fiercest predator, I still think is really sweet that they do that. You can see one in the cave there. Now, they do get their name based on the coats that they have. Each one is unique. Kind of looks like they were all painted different ways. A pack of them is usually made up of about 25 dogs, and they're led by an alpha male and an alpha female who become the main breeding pair of the group. All right, over on the left, you'll see a whole bunch of wildebeest there. Now, the wildebeest in the wild, they travel in herds of about 1.5 million. When they go to sleep at night, they sleep in rows, standing up, facing different directions. That way they can easily warn each other if a predator's coming, and then they'll all try to escape. And of course, when there's a million animals running in one direction, it's pretty intimidating. It is a huge stampede. So it definitely does deter their predators. They have found some really good safety with their numbers. And on the left, a much better look at these Maasai giraffes here. Now, the one that's kind of straight ahead of our truck right now, that one is one of the babies. So super small, super cute. So these, we can tell that they're the Maasai giraffe based on their jagged, irregular pattern to their coat. Now, a group of them together is called a tower, which definitely makes sense as they tower over the other animals out here on the savannah at about 18 to 20 feet tall. So here's the baby. Super cute. Now, when these giraffes are born, they're already 6 feet tall. And the mother giraffe up ahead of us, these tiny little antelopes that kind of look like s'mores. These are the springbok. They do get their name because they can spring about 6 to 8 feet into the air while standing still, and about 16 feet forward. So it only take them about 2 jumps to jump the entire length of this truck, making them one of the fastest animals, not only out here on the savannah, but in the entire world. The springbok can travel at speeds of about 50 miles an hour. And we can see on the right another one of the baby giraffes standing there. But then a really cool sight, these 2 giraffes are sitting down. Now, in the wild, it's very rare to see them sitting down because they do have a hard time getting back up. So if a predator is coming for them and they're sitting down, it's not going to end well. So by seeing them sitting down here on our reserve, it means they feel nice and safe and secure, which is an awesome thing to know that they feel that way living here. So that's a really cool view over there. One more giraffe over here on the left, or a few more. Another one sitting down. This is really awesome. Lots of giraffes, a whole tower of them. Now, these giraffes, they also spend about 18 hours of their day eating and only about 30 minutes sleeping, which is something I also find very impressive that they have the ability to do. Oh, one more. All right, now all these broken down trees here, they mean we're about to enter elephant country. So let's keep our eyes peeled for any elephants. If they are out here, they're usually pretty easy to spot. Oh, right on our right here. Perfect view of this African elephant here. Now, something pretty cool about the elephants, just like people are right or left-handed, elephants are right or left tusked, which we can usually tell which one is their dominant one by what size they are. It's usually the smaller one means it's their dominant one, just because it gets used more. And on the left, you can kind of see some mandrills over there. There's some by the rocks here. Now the mandrills, they are the largest species of monkey. The males, they weigh about 100 pounds. The females, they are significantly smaller at only about 40 pounds. But they all have those pretty red and blue painted faces, just like Rafiki in The Lion King. The mandrills, they also have pouches inside their mouths, so when they go looking for food, they can eat a whole bunch. They can also store some in those pouches for later, just in case they get hungry and need a snack. They don't have to go looking for food a second time. They can just take it right out of those pouches and eat it. All right, we're gonna head a little bit further in elephant country, see if we can find any. Now, for the African elephants, both the males and the females, they do have those ivory tusks, which unfortunately they are hunted for. They're also being hunted because farmers are encroaching upon their lands in Africa with their crops, and elephants end up trampling the crops, eating all of the crops, which of course upsets the farmers. It is their livelihood. So a team here at Disney, they wanted to find out how they can not only help the elephants, but the farmers as well. And what they found through research was that elephants don't like the sound of bees, and they'll actually run away if they hear them. So what they did was they put beehive fences around the farmers' crops, and it ended up being very successful in keeping the elephants away, which kept them safe from being hunted, kept the crops safe from being trampled and eaten, and it gave the farmers some honey they could sell from those beehives. So it's a win-win for all parties involved. Really cool that a team here at Disney can figure that out to help conserve the elephant populations a little bit better. Now, if you notice on either side of us, there's these red clay walls. Looks like there's some elephant tusk marks in it, so hopefully that means there's some more around here that we can find. I do see some more on the left, way out in the distance. There's a few of them. Now, based on where they're standing there, I don't think we'll get a closer look, but you never know. Sometimes they wander into our view, so let's hope for that. But the elephants, they love to dig out that red clay and then they eat it. It has a lot of minerals and nutrients in it, so it's kind of like taking a vitamin for them, and it keeps them nice and healthy. Now here in elephant country, you might notice a lot of the baobab trees, like the one we saw earlier, and a lot of watering holes as well. That's because elephants, they have really good memory since they live in a matriarchal society where the eldest female's in charge. She'll memorize where all the good spots are to find water, and she'll lead the rest of the herd to it. And then other animals out here on the savannah, they also know that the elephants are really good at finding water, so they'll follow them as well, which is one of the reasons it's really important to help conserve the elephant populations. And then on the right, you'll notice the Ankole cattle there. They have those huge horns on their heads, which look like they'd be pretty heavy, but compared to the rest of their body, those horns are pretty light, at only about 30 to 35 pounds. The inside of them is a honeycomb structure of blood vessels, and it's what regulates their body temperature, keeps them nice and cool. The Ankole cattle are also one of the domesticated species that we have here on the reserve. They're domesticated in Africa by the Watusi tribe. So if you've ever heard of the Watusi cattle, same animal, just different names. So you'll get to see them again on the right there. But also on the left, we have the greater flamingos. Now a group of them together is called a flamboyance. If you notice any gray looking ones, they were hatched a few months ago, so they're getting really big already, but they are born gray like that. They won't start to turn pink until about a year of their life, after they've eaten enough of their diet of brine shrimp. The brine shrimp has beta-carotene in it, which is what turns them pink, but because they are the largest species of flamingo, they are the lightest in color, just because that pink pigment from the shrimp has a lot more body area that it has to take up. Now the flamingo chicks, before they hatch from their eggs, they can communicate through them. That way once they do hatch, they already recognize the sound of their mother's voice, and the mothers recognize the sound of their baby's voices. And coming up on the left, we're going to have the white rhinos. Now, I want to point it out now. The one out in the distance, the little baby rhino's over there. He was born a few months ago. He's so cute and small. Now the white rhinos, they are a larger species of rhino. They weigh about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds each. They're also a social species of rhino, so they do like to hang out in groups together. Now when rhinos are in a group, it's called a crash, which definitely makes sense as they charge at speeds of about 35 miles an hour and just crash right into things. So we're gonna get a perfect view of the little baby rhino over here. Oh, so cute. Now the white rhinos, you might notice they're not actually white. They did get their name from a mistranslation of the Afrikaans language. They were called the white rhino, which translates to wide, because they have really wide mouths to help them easily graze along the ground in the savannah. Now on the left, right by the tree, there are some cheetahs all the way on the left side. You can see 2 of them laying down there. Now the cheetahs are one of the only big cats that do their hunting during the day. This is because they do have a very low success rate when hunting, although they can run really fast at speeds of about 60 to 70 miles an hour. They can't maintain those speeds for very long, and they're not the strongest of the big cats either. There's another one laying down there as well towards the back. Kind of tough to see, they're really good at blending in. So the cheetahs, if they are hunting at the same time as the other big cats and they do catch something, the other big cats actually fight them off and take their prey away. So they hunt during the day when the other big cats are sleeping. But they do have an advantage to hunting during the day. They have black markings around their eyes, which helps reflect the sun. That way if it does get super bright and sunny, they're still able to see really well. On the left here, there's a little brown antelope laying down. That's a bontebok. Keep the bontebok in mind. They have an incredible conservation story that I'm going to share towards the end, just to make sure I have enough time, just in case some more animals like these beautiful lions pop up. So we can see two lions there. We can see a male and a female. Now the male is the one with the fluffy mane around his head. The female is the one that's closer to us. Now a group of lions together is called a pride. A pride of lions is usually only made up of one male. The rest are the females and the cubs. Now when they go hunting at night, it's actually the females that go out and do the hunting while the male stays back and protects the rest of the pride. So that's a perfect view of them. They're so beautiful up there. Now the reason they like to hunt at night is because they do have great vision during the day. At night it's 6 times better, giving them a huge advantage to not only being up high on that rock structure that we call a kopie, but also being able to see really well in the dark. And for 16 to 20 hours a day, the lions will just rest on top of that kopie. It's nice and warm and cozy up there for them. Coming up on the left side, we're going to be able to see some warthogs there. Now the warthogs, they dig out those burrows that you can see in the ground with their tusks, and then at night when they're ready to go to sleep, they back themselves into the burrows with their tusks facing out, and it helps to ward off predators in the middle of the night. That way they can sleep nice and safe and sound. And these white animals on our right here, these are the scimitar horned oryxes. They do get their name based on the horns that are on their heads. They're kind of shaped like the scimitar sword, like the ones that the guards use in the movie Aladdin. They do come from really dry, arid areas of the world, but they've adapted very well to living in those areas. They can go 9 months of the year without drinking any water. A lot of the times where they're from, they can't find water, so they will have to go all those months without it. So their body is really good at preserving it. They don't start to sweat until they reach about 116 degrees. And also on their right, we have some ostriches. Now the ostrich is the largest and the heaviest bird, which are a few of the reasons that they cannot fly. But they can run really fast at speeds of about 40 miles an hour, making them the fastest 2-legged land animal on the planet. Alright, now we have entered the Magadi Glen. This is where the warden's post is. The warden's the one who's in charge of the reserve here, make sure all the animals are safe and happy and healthy. And alongside the warden live some Nigerian dwarf goats. Now they look like they're tiny little baby goats, but they're actually fully grown, so this is about as big as they're going to get. They do stay really small. Just like the Ankoli cattle that we saw earlier, they are the other domesticated species that we have. Domesticated for a few different reasons, the main one being the milk that they produce. Very nutritious, great for people, also very valuable, so it can be easily sold, which is great for the people that own these goats to be able to sell that milk. They're also really good at getting all the weedy underbrush from crops, which helps them grow even better, whereas bigger animals and cattle can't really get to it. So not only are those goats super cute, but they're super useful.